Well, hello there. Bill O'Leary coming to you today to answer the question, estate planning, what if a spouse remarries? So in this video, you're going to learn what the issue of a spouse remarrying is all about, why it's important, and what can be done about it. Real quick, let me introduce myself before jumping in. Again, as I said, my name is Bill O'Leary. I'm an estate planning, elder law, and probate attorney in Jacksonville, Florida. My firm is Legacy Planning Law Group. So let's jump right in. You know, one issue that often goes overlooked in estate planning by married couples is remarriage protection. This is where important legal mechanisms are created to ensure that an estate plan that's agreed to by both spouses will be carried out after the first spouse's death. So imagine everything going to, let's say, the surviving spouse's future spouse if they get remarried, or to the children of that future spouse, instead of to the children that you've raised together. And look, this is not an easy topic to discuss, but the reality is that many people, after the death of a spouse, do end up remarrying. So it's an issue that should not be ignored. So I would submit to you some prudent questions to ask and discuss between you. Okay, if I pass away and you remarry, you know, can you leave everything to your new spouse or to the children of your new spouse? How do we make sure our kids that we raise together will receive the benefit of our estate, and will our estate be sufficiently protected if I say, well, I'm just going to hope that if you do get remarried, you're going to sign some sort of prenuptial agreement? Is it enough to rely on that hope and prayer, or is having something more concrete a better solution? So being proactive and thinking about your estate planning can help bring these questions really to the surface. And again, conceitedly, these are uncomfortable things to talk about. That's why most people don't talk about them, or if they do, they sort of tiptoe around them. And I understand how asking these questions, it might be perceived by your spouse as a lack of trust in them. But it's important to make sure that when beginning the estate planning process, that you as a married couple agree on all issues. And it certainly helps to have an experienced estate planning attorney to guide you through this process. Why? So the emotional conflicts don't get in the way of good planning in a way that protects your estate and your heirs. So the main way that people preserve their estate for their children in case a spouse remarries is by placing the estate in what's called a trust. By placing the estate assets in a trust, think of it as you placing restrictions on the distribution of money from the trust to the surviving spouse, thereby making sure that the combined estate that both of you created over your lifetimes will end up going to your shared children. And the way a trust would work is when the second spouse, the surviving spouse, dies, the trust will determine who gets the trust assets at that point, instead of the surviving spouse making that judgment call. So the trust in effect would be set in stone at the first spouse's death, and at that point the surviving spouse can't change it. So guardrails are in place. And so in that situation, let's say that your spouse, as the surviving spouse, decided to make a new will after you died that gave everything to their new spouse upon remarriage, or to the children of that new spouse. That will not change the beneficiaries that have been named in the trust. They're locked in. So again, this is a great way to protect the assets for your children. So consider this scenario. Let's say you've got, you know, a husband and wife, they're married for 25 years. They have 2 children together. They have an estate plan, but it just consists of simple wills that says the entire estate will go to the surviving spouse. I like to call these I love you wills, which simply says, honey, when I die, everything goes to you. When you die, everything goes to me. Simple and easy. Now, in this scenario, let's say the husband gets sick and then dies. The wife inherits his entire estate outright, instead of in a protected trust. And then after a few years, the wife decides to start dating, and eventually she gets remarried. her new husband has children of his own from a prior marriage. And if they decide to make new wills, I love you wills, when I die, everything goes to you. When you die, everything goes to me. The children from the first spouse's previous marriage are cut out entirely. And this problem could have been avoided when both were still alive, if only they had taken a more thoughtful approach to estate planning. So the best thing to do is for both of you to establish a revocable living trust while you're still living, specifying that upon the death of the first spouse, the deceased spouse's one half of the estate would be put into an irrevocable trust. And while the surviving spouse can certainly be a beneficiary of that trust for the rest of his or her lifetime, there are restrictions where the surviving spouse can't simply take everything out of the trust in one lump sum. And again, this ensures that the money that's left at the second spouse's death, that's left in the trust, will go to the children of the first spouse. So if you'd like to know more about estate planning and the scenario that if a spouse remarries and maybe how we can help, we would love to talk to you. We make it very easy for you to take that initial first step by scheduling a phone call, a free phone call, 15 minutes. It's called our discovery phone call, where we can start a conversation to see if we'll be a good fit for each other. And scheduling the call, again, couldn't be easier. Just go to the bottom of this video and click on the scheduling link that you see. It'll take you straight to our booking calendar. Again, just pick the day and time that works and we'll jump on the call with you. And again, that call is complimentary. So this is Bill O'Leary signing off for now, wishing you a great day and asking you to go make it a better world.